because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
If you think about the numbers, 1.3 million African Americans voted for Trump. He's saying to 1.3 million African Americans that you're not black? Who in the heck does he think he is?
He feel like black Americans, they can't think for themselves, but just because you black, it don't mean you have to vote Democrat.
That's right.
You know, you have your own mind. You can think for yourselves. And what Joe Biden and the rest of these left-leaning liberals need to understand is that black people are not commodity. We can't be bought and sold.
That's right.
You're not going to do that to us. We're going to make up our own minds, yes, and we're going to vote accordingly. And to say to black America that if you don't vote for me, you're not black, oh, how insensitive and offensive. He offended us. It's insulting. And yes, he should be ashamed of himself for that.
That's right.
He's been in government almost half a century, and he can't point to one thing that he's done for black America. Now, what he should be pointing to is back in 1994 when he pushed for that crime bill, which decimated the black community, took the black fathers out of the home. Yep. He pushed for that.
That's right.
Joe Biden haven't done anything for the interest or for the betterment of black people. The only person he's done something for was himself.
That's
Look
right.
at that China. Look at how he's in bed with China. Look at the China propaganda that he pushes. He don't push anything for Americans,
that's right,
especially black Americans.
That's
the man who sponsored and led the charge on the 1990s crime bill that locked up more African-American males than any other piece of legislation.
Yeah, he haven't done, listen, Joe Biden haven't done anything for
his
black
record
Americans.
is broken. He don't have a record.
He don't have any solutions.
That's
but
right.
Black people are, you're going to have to make the decision.
That's right.
And if you're on the fence when it comes to President Donald J. Trump, you need to get off the fence and walk through the fence. Okay,
that's right.
Walk through the gate, because here is the deal. President Trump has shown us in almost 4 years what he can do for black America.
That's right.
$1 billion to HBCUs, more than any president in the history has given. Opportunity zones. First step at giving people a second chance.
That's right.
So he's have a proven record. Joe Biden don't even have a record.
Joe Biden, you're going to tell me and all the other brothers that are out here that if we don't stay on the psychological democratic plantation, then we ain't black. This is the whole reason why myself, Candace Owens, and others talk about the mentality. You got a white liberal telling a black man that I'm going to be the arbiter, I'm going to be the decider if you are black or not, if you are black enough or not. And if you don't line up, you don't put your black butt in line with the other black folks, then you ain't even black. Joe Biden is saying he taking your black card. Well, Joe Biden, let me school you on something. I was black when I was born. I was black when I grew up in Fort Worth. I was black when I played college football. I was black when I was a police officer serving my community, serving other black people. I guess I was black when I voted for Barack Obama. And then I was black when I woke up and realized the Democratic Party ain't done nothing for me or anybody else in this country. You can't even talk right. You can't remember where you're at. You can't even read off a teleprompter. And now all of a sudden that I woke up, I'm no longer black. And any black person co-signing this BS, then I don't want to be black then. If that's what being black means, if that's what it stands for, then take me off the list. I'd rather just be an American. Don't call me black if that means I'm ignorant. If that means I don't vote for my best interests. I vote because of the color of my skin. Then you take me off the list. Ask yourself this question, and I'm off this video. All of the poor areas and the most desolate areas in the black community run by Democrats. The most high crime areas where we see the most harm being done to black and brown bodies run by Democrats. We had the first black president. What did black people get from that? What did we get? What did the communities get? Obama was from Chicago, didn't do nothing for Chicago. It got worse. Who is pushing the race issue in this country? Who is sitting here telling you you're a victim instead of helping you be a victor, teaching you how to win and not how not to lose?
You should want more for yourself, and there's more to blackness than being a Democrat or being a leftist. And the fact that you have no agency, and it robs you of the agency, and you don't treat black folks like they're individuals, is an issue that a lot of black folks, even themselves, have this approach, and they may not even realize it. You know, it's just I'm blackity black all the time, and then it's like, come the election, it's whoever the Democrats throw at you, you support. And anybody that doesn't support you, that has your skin color, especially if they support your opposition, then there's something wrong with them. As if, and it's funny because white folks aren't offered that sort of same critique, right? They can vote for whoever they want, and it's just what white folk do. But in the event that you support another candidate or a philosophy that is not either leftism, in economics, social issues, or so forth, or it's definitely when it comes to the Democrats, then you are an unauthentic black person. I think this is hopefully, as blunt as he put it, which sounded very bad if you actually watch the video, it sounded crazy that he said it. But, and it ain't even to be fair to Joe Biden, as loony as I think he is, this has been the approach of his party for a very long time.
So is this true? If you don't vote for our boy Joe, does it mean that you're not black? Before we can jump into that, we need to ask ourselves a very important question. What does it mean to be black? Does being black mean you love fried chicken? Does being black mean you thoroughly enjoy that savory grape Kool-Aid? Does being black mean you've binged every episode of Empire and Power? Because if that's so, Rachel is definitely black. The problem with most people's definition of blackness is that it's based upon society's generalization due to race. And in my personal opinion, the absolute worst way to group people is based upon race. Grouping everyone based upon something as broad as race is like grouping every car based upon it just being of the same color. Oh no. Don't worry about that blue Rolls Royce for my birthday. I'd much rather have the blue Chrysler 300. It's basically the same thing. And if you have a Chrysler 300, you are definitely black. Oh, you have one too? Rachel's still black. The problem with the typical American definition of race is that most cultures and societies understand that it's so unwise to group people according to color. A way better way of understanding people is not based upon race, but based upon culture and ethnicities. Let me give you an example. Look at this picture and tell me what you've noticed. Okay, besides the point that these guys all love jollof rice and pepper soup and more than likely had 7 different wives. If you were to ask Joe Biden, he probably would say, those are all black people. If you ask most Americans, they probably will say they're all Africans. And if you ask those super woke on Twitter, they probably will say they're all West Africans. And you see, all of them are generally speaking correct. But let's go ahead and a little bit deeper into it. You see, all of those guys are all Nigerians, so they are from the same country, but they all are part of 3 distinct tribes of Nigerians. And all these 3 distinct tribes have different languages, they have different traditions, a lot of times they have different religions, they have different foods. They are extremely different people, and though they look the same, you know, they are not the same people. You see, having black skin is simply a genetic phenotype, and just because your skin color is the same does not mean that you think the same. There are so many different people with black skin who have different values, ideas, dreams, goals, aspirations, worldviews, cultures. There's just so much diversity amongst people with black skin. You have Haitians, Jamaicans, Ethiopians, Somalian, Sudanese, Dominican. I think most people can understand that just because your skin is the same or you look the same does not mean that you guys believe and are the same people. Most people don't think an American is the same as a Canadian. Most people don't think an Italian is the same as a German. Most people don't think a Chinese person is the same as a Japanese person. Okay, that was a bad example. Anyway, But my biggest problem is by grouping every single person into one general category based upon the color of the skin, especially with black people, you create a societal standard that causes most people to feel like they have to fit into it. And if they don't fit into the societal standard, most people then will question their blackness or feel like they're not black enough. And what I see is when we have these general expectations for people who are black, a lot of young people fall into so much pressure and they end up being cultural caricatures who end up fitting molds and feeling like I have to be a certain way to fit in and to be accepted. The beauty of diversity is that you have so many cultures within black Americans. You have city blacks, you have country blacks, you have rich blacks, you have poor blacks, you have blacks who are Republicans, you have blacks who are Democrats. You have such a beautiful, diverse tapestry amongst black America. And guess what? They're all still black.